So the next project with the 50 is to install a brake controller so I can put brakes in my trailer. I wanted the controller with the smallest knob so to be less obtrusive. So I got one of these Redarcs. There's not a specific cable for it, so you have to buy just the universal cable. Kurt makes a cable that fits the car, and it has the right connector on it for that, but I'm going to have to cut and paste in order to do that. The other thing I need to do is figure out where to put it. The normal place to put it would be down here on the left with all the pushy buttons, but mine doesn't have any blank spots. I kind of wanted to put it on the flat spot here, but on the other side of the steering wheel. But I started poking at the plastic. It looks like there's a big tab snappy thing there that holds the plastic together. So I'm thinking where I'm going to end up going is down here in the front next to the little 12 volt outlet. But I'm going to have to tear a bunch of plastic apart in order to get in there. So let's start ripping plastic and you can see how it's done. I looked on the internet trying to figure out how to get these apart. Wasn't finding much. Obviously these cars are still pretty new. Found one that kind of gave me an idea. Bought one of these trim popper tool sets. They work out pretty well. These tools are nice and stiff and they work well and don't leave any marks. The piece on the left hand side here, you just hook underneath it and then it just pops right off. And that whole thing comes off as a chunk. It's just plastic clips, nothing fancy. And then if you were just going to install down here on the bottom, you just give this a yank and that pulls down, and that'll get you down inside where you can get behind these switches. And that would be enough. The bottom I haven't really dug into yet because there's an airbag down there. So let's see how that goes. Let's switch to the other side and pull the other piece off. Once you start doing this stuff to your interior, you never look at it the same way again. This other piece kind of comes off altogether. So it's the same way. Get underneath it and just pop it loose. That piece. There it goes. There. And it all just comes off in one big piece. Kind of rattly, but all the clips are all attached. Set that aside. Where I really wanted to be was over here. I wanted to be in that spot. Let me get that closer. Yeah, I wanted to be in this spot right here by the steering wheel, but there's a tab right there, and I'd have to drill out a whole bunch of that to get that thing in there. So if I can't get here next to the steering wheel, I don't really want to put anything down below, and if I stick it on the side, it's going to get banged on my knees, so I think the best place is going to be right down here. And there's actually... this the other night. There's a panel here right below that. That pops right out. That's just a piece. And I think there's enough space behind there for where I gotta go. But I'm gonna have to make some more room. So I think the next thing I have to do is get the center console out of there, so let's do that. The top part of this was easier than I expected. These side pieces here just pop out real easy. and they just come right off. And that gives you access to the screws. So let's see where we get with those. There's other videos that show how the steering knob comes off. That's pretty simple. Push the button, release it. There's a little tabby at the top, so the silver piece comes off the front, and then there's a little horseshoe clip that has to pop out. Horseshoe clip comes out, and the knob comes off the top. That's easy enough. We got some screws. There. Here. Oh, that was even easier than I expected. Maybe. There it is. So that whole piece just lifts out. And we got a couple of connectors. One, two. That one can come out the bottom. Look at that. Oh, you can't see that. Oh, this comes right up. Easy. Alright. Now, to get the rest of this box out, screws, couple of nuts down here. There's a couple more screws in the front. Let's see what happens. And I'm not sure if these plastic side panels are supposed to come off with the center console or separate. But we're gonna keep working our way down here and see what happens. It looks like the cup tray comes right out. So we'll see if we can pop that loose. Yep. So when it's time to clean your spilled coffee, that's not too hard. Ew. Looks like something was spilled under there because it's gooey underneath. Alright, let me get that out of the way. So now we got a big hole in here. I took the couple of nuts and bolts out. There's a couple there. There's a couple of screws in the front that hold the front of those side panels in. Well, I guess part of this exercise is just to see how it all comes apart. There's a couple more nuts in here. I'll take those out and then I'll move to the back and we'll see if we can't get this whole box out. Because it looks like the wireless charger is snapped in there, but I may have to get the back out first. So let's go do that. I'm actually very surprised how quickly this all comes apart. How do you see this one? Get your wedgie in here. And the whole thing just comes right off. And like I said, you'll never look at the inside of these cars the same way again. They just pop right apart like nothing. Could be, where are you? Could be, that pops right off. There's a couple more bolts. Oh, that's nice. Those ones are just in here finger tight. Nice. these others. Oh, those are screws. Ah. Look at that. I think we're almost there. Looks like that whole piece is ready to come out. Oh, there it is. That's all loose. Now I just got to find the electrical connectors because there's some pieces in the box. Yeah, now that we got this all loose, I got to figure out whether that little panel pops off or not, because there's the USB connections there and we still got the wireless charger thing there. These plastic side panels, I'm beginning to wonder now, because there was that one screw that held the bottom. They got to be clipped. In the front they look like they're dropped on the top and then set down. So let me see if I can pop them off. Okay, the USB panel, I was able to reach in from the front and disconnect these couple of connectors right here. They're right there. Got those from the front. And then I kind of pulled on the USB panel and that just kind of pops up. There's tabs on the bottom, vertical tabs at the top, so that whole thing just popped up and popped out. So that's free. So I think that's all that's holding us now. Oh, wait, there's a couple of poppers back here. One there, one here, that hold it to the air duct. Plus those cables. Now that might just come right out of there. Right, let me see if I can fight that out of there. Yepper, after I freed that air duct in the back, the whole thing was completely loose. That's all gone. That's out here now. It all came out as one big piece. I didn't have to take those side panels off. The right passenger front has this interesting extra flapper doodle to get around the side. Oh, okay. That came right off. Alright, that explains the side panels. There's a screw hiding in there. So that probably wouldn't come off. Other side, kind of the same thing. That's an extra piece. So that pops off and there's a screw there. So if you had to get the side panels off, you get the front, you get that one in the back, and I bet that whole thing would snap right off of there because there's just a couple of vertical clips. Alright, cool. So let's get back to where we were. See if I can get my fingers up in there and find a place to mount that switch. I did some more yanking inside here, and I was able to get this panel below the heat controls snapped out. It all comes loose except for the bottom left corner, which might be a matter of fiddling around down there to get something else loose. But I don't think I have to, because if you peek inside, at the same level where the 12 volt outlet is, it looks like it's all open back there. So if I poke a hole, I should be able to mount my connector there on the left hand side where I want it to go. So let's see if I can do that. I got a little carried away. I thought it was better to have this thing in my lap where I can work on it and verify what's going on in here before I make a hole. So you rip up the sill plate, that's easy. You rip off the fuse box cover, that's easy. The airbag, the surround piece with the switches pulls right off-ish. There's a couple of connectors. There's a connector. You gotta free the hood cable. Then the airbag sits there. There's a 10mm bolt on either side. and then that'll drop right off, and then the corner of this piece comes free, and then I can pull it all off here. It does look like there's space there, sorta. There's one connector there I'm a little concerned about. The back of this, I think I can put this right here, right next to the 12 volt outlet, as long as I'm sure I got clearance underneath here. So let me do some more measuring. Alrighty, I did some more measuring, up, down, left, right. I think we're set. I chopped one little piece out of that piece of plastic right there. It's just a nothing plastic, so I just cut a little bit out of there. But I think with that I'll have enough depth above that little metal piece. Drilled the holes. Got my button right here. It goes back and forth and it still clicks. I was a little concerned about the thickness of the plastic, but it looks like it'll be just fine. And when that's down below there, I'll be able to reach over and hit that button, adjust it if I need to. Alright, let's get a wire tossed in there and start sticking all this stuff back together. Yeah, the connector to the control knob on these Redarc units is just a regular Ethernet connector. Snap that right in there. They give you 3 foot of cable here. That should be plenty for what I need. They say you can extend it if you really need to, but we shouldn't have to. And I'm just going to push that off to the side down into the footwell where I'm going to mount the main box. Got my new jumper wire fed through here. The connector for the controller is up here above the pedal. We're going to plug that in right there. Then I'm going to tie this up inside here. I was looking around underneath the driver's footwell trying to figure out where I'm going to mount that. And then I realized I got this big hole up here. Since I got all the stuff apart, there's a big grapefruit sized hole right there. I think I'm going to mount that controller box right there to that bracket. See how that works out. Every decision is a compromise. I want to put the control box down here. I popped this little bit of cable loose. There's 2 little bolts there. I cut them off. I cut a little piece of wood so that'll sit over those studs. And then the control box will fit right flush up against that, and I can tie that down. That'll be lovely. There we go. These are all tucked in. Everything's tidied up. Nothing's flopping around. Gotta say it or it's not official. That isn't going anywhere. Alright, my centerpiece under the radio. It kind of has tails at the bottom to help you line it up. But we got our Ethernet connection here. We got the plug connection here. We got the one for the start motor there. Just kind of line it all up. Done. There's just 2 screws that go here and here to tighten that piece. Now we're going to put the airbag back. It's kind of a sealed unit. It does have a tab in the bottom corner that has to match up with that plastic piece we just put back. There's one screw here, and there's 1 screw off to the left that it hooks on. So we'll just pop that up in here. Goes there. Goes here. 1 screw. Here. These two are on here pretty tight. So we're going to crank those down with a bigger ratchet. One connector for the airbag. Just like that. Now we got to get this other piece on. The knee panel has a couple other connectors. We got the connector for the diagnostic. We got the connector for the hood latch, which that just kind of snaps right in here. That. And we got connectors for the switches and one little keeper that holds the wiring harness in place. And then this just snaps in here. Done. Just like that. Now we got the fuse panel cover. Snaps back here. Oh, and we got one little bolt here. Probably just so when you're yanking on the hood latch you don't pull it loose. Yep. Fuse panel pops right back on top here. Should be a simple, just like that, and there's one little popper up here just to hold that. Easy peasy. And then the sill plate just snaps right on top. This way. I think the rubber is supposed to be underneath. I had that backwards. The rubber goes down first, and then the sill plate goes over top of the rubber, and it kind of does this little overlap thing, because the rubber goes over this side piece and then under the sill, and then the same way at this side. But not a big deal. Pop it back together. Ready to put the center console back in. I popped the dash back in. Just for reference, I think this unit here hidden in the center console, the yellow connectors, is the airbag unit, because that's the safest place they could put it. Drop the center console back in place. All we got left is a couple of connectors, a couple of bolts, a couple more connectors, a couple more bolts, a couple more bolts. And my new controller sits down at the bottom here, and there's plenty of room. Almost like they left that space on purpose. Alright, let me tidy this up. Okay, here's the test. Little button is supposed to blink and do stuff once we get it going. They said it would do breathing blue. I didn't see nothing back there. Then it's supposed to start blinking when it starts learning. Let's go for a ride, see what it does. Well, now that we got the trailer connected, we're looking better. Push the button. We get a red light. That's the brake override. You need to stop it from swaying. Press the brake pedal. It does kick on. I've had it out once or twice. Seems to be working. Have to give it some more road tests, see how it goes. Alright. Spin this up. Okay, push the button. Boop. That works. Okay.